You do not want to take your eyes off this match for one single second. Without any further ado, let's get the boys on the bays. Introducing one of the sport's most colourful characters. He's a World Championship finalist. He's the reigning Saga Insurance Masters champion. He's back with his very own brand of juicy snooker. Here comes the jester from Leicester, Mark Selby. And ladies and gentlemen, his opponent, a man of sheer genius on the snooker table. He is a four-time UK champion, twice a winner here in Wales, twice a world champion. Blink and you've missed him. The Rocket, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
One final thought here at this point. No matter how little there is between these two players on form this season, as Mark Selby tries to win his first ranking tournament, just think about Ronnie O'Sullivan's conversion rate. From 27 ranking tournament finals, he's won 19 of them, a conversion rate somewhere up in the 70%. Let's join our commentary team. And thrilled, I'm sure, to be first in the box this afternoon. The 1979 World Champion Terry Griffiths, and alongside him, Clive Everton.
It's showtime.
Mark Selby the break.
It always is when Ronnie O'Sullivan plays in a major final. And it's an atmosphere which Mark Selby will also relish. It's the sort of atmosphere for which you put in all those hundreds of hours of lonely practice. Last night, from 2-1 down, O'Sullivan played absolutely marvellously in beating Sean Murphy 6-3, making 3 centuries, including a total clearance of 143 to round off the match. Each day is different, but O'Sullivan is very cheery,
Wow,
and I think
Mark Selby.
highly likely to play well. Failed there with the glancing escape, but it's always better to shave past it on the first attempt rather than to hit it full in the face and leave another red on.
Wow, and a miss. Mark Selby 4.
Third time successful, and a nudge off the brown, which prevents Selby going at the long straight red. Got the necessary thin edge contact on the red. Nice kiss off the brown. Couldn't afford to attempt that pot because the cue ball would have been careering into black and red. However, he has left a possible starter for O'Sullivan.
Had to be very accurate, very acute angle there for the red to go into the middle. He had to play it with a slight amount of pace to try and hold for the black.
As ever, clasping a glass of hot water. His hands have a tendency to get cold.
Notice Mark Selby up in the players' room 10 minutes before the start, talking with his family and friends in a very relaxed mode. Ronnie Sullivan was having a little snack down in the press room. All the players are different. Some players like to be by themselves, go to the dressing room and start to think about what is happening out there and psych themselves up. They're all different. I'm sure they both had a little knock on the table, probably half hour before the start time. Not that they'd need much practice. They've been here all the week in match play. It's the best type of practice you can get, that.
The cue ball just came off the jaw, the top cushion jaw of the corner pocket, and rebounded to the side cushion. But perhaps Selby can still get to the potting angle. More difficult though than if it had been straighter.
Well, Sullivan's got two choices here. If he can hold for the blue and leave an angle, he may go into the pack, but he's also looked earlier on at the loose red at the back of the pack. If he gets on that, and he could open the reds out, but he won't be happy until the black's back on his spot, of course.
1.
First ball potted after just over 6 minutes play. Selby's 8 points arising from 2 fouls by O'Sullivan.
Didn't have the angle there off the blue to get onto the loose red, so I tried to split them off the side cushion. He moved 1 or 2, but none of them into a potable position.
Ronnie O'Sullivan 6.
Figured that it would have a good chance not to be left on, as long as he got it in the jaws at that speed.
We've had a run in this first frame when the safeties are not easy for either player, and that's held things up a little bit. There hasn't been many pots to go for. But there's no positive safeties on when you can split the reds up and then try and trap your opponent. It's all defensive stuff.
In their personal head-to-head, O'Sullivan leads 3-1, but Selby did win their quarter-final of the 2002 China Open. That match I'm referring to was when Selby still had a great long backswing and also bridged a long way from the cue ball. He's played much better, much more consistently, with a more compact action.
Very good attempt. But Ronnie Selby can see the red just past the green. That'll probably be his next shot.
Using the second red as a stopper.
Yes, he's also immediately trying to split the balls out and possibly bring the black into play, but the red caught a second red before it hit the black. Ronnie Selman always thinking in a positive manner, trying to open the balls out, and we all know how good he is when he gets in amongst the balls. He's up against a very strong safety player today, Mark Selby.
Yes, a player with the knack of winning a high percentage of the tight frames, and lately the tight matches. Great pot. Screwing back to the ball cushion for safety if he happened to miss it.
Very much part of the safety game, that, the long potting. And with Ray Reid and saying how important that part of it is to keep your opponent off the table. If you keep knocking in the long ones and playing tight safety, you're always going to be a difficult opponent for anybody.
Mark Selby 1.
And he was Ray Reid, 6 times world champion. Well, he's having a good look at things, but the obvious target is the red on the black, just below the black spot there. If you can drop on that, it doesn't look too much danger. It's not easy to go into the reds, because there's quite a few loose reds available there. 3 or 4 cushions then. Judgment of pace just as important as the angle. Didn't want to go that side. He's left the red up now.
Mark Selby 4.
Not a bad attempt. It's a very difficult escape, that.
Was trying to play to the inside of the red.
One.
Mark Selby earned this opportunity with an excellent long red and then laying that snooker. Now this is an important part today for Mark Selby. He's got to score when he gets in them, because if he doesn't, Sullivan will gain confidence. Straight in the middle, that one.
8. Nine.
Not quite.
16.
He's on a red, but he's going to have to play a good shot. Run through the reds to try and stay on the black.
17.
I think that was a big ask then. It turns out he may be able to just cue this without going over there. Yes, he's okay. He's got a gap there for his cue to go through. If he was having to raise his bridge, this shot would have been a lot more difficult.
24. 25.
Selby, unquestionably a player with a big match temperament. In the world final against John Higgins at the Crucible last spring, he was 12-4 down at the end of the first day, but made a real fight of it before losing 18-13. Performed brilliantly in front of an enormous crowd on the final night of the Masters at Wembley last month rather. Beating Stephen Lee 10-3.
40.
Yes, that was his first major win on the circuit, but it'd be a bit special here for him to win the Welsh Open. It's a ranking event, and to beat the reigning world champion John Higgins, a legend Stephen Hendry in the semi-final, and Ronnie O'Sullivan in the final. Well, how big would that be? He would definitely be favourite then going into the World Championships.
Norton. 41.
His quarter-final victory here over John Higgins took him up to a provisional 4th in the world rankings, above Higgins.
$47. 48.
Deliberately held the spot there to give himself a better angle at the red on the left of the pack of reds there.
53.
His first chance, this. He parted one red earlier on and snookered Ronnie O'Sullivan to create the opening.
54.
And the black would be enough to leave O'Sullivan needing one snooker.
$61. $62.
Terrific long pot from Selby. From that he laid the snooker, which forced O'Sullivan into the mistake which has led to this frame-winning break.
70.
Missed the cannon.
77.
It won't affect the outcome of the frame. But it did scupper his chance of a century. Nevertheless, Mark Selby will be quite happy with that. A break of 77. He leads by a frame to nil.
.co.uk is the email address. So anything you want to ask Terry Griffiths or Dominic Dale, within reason, snooker@bbc.co.uk, and we'll try to get through some of your questions after the first 4 frames of what already looks like being an enthralling encounter.
An encounter in which Mark Selby has already made his presence felt. O'Sullivan's opponents have to do that, because if he gets a flying start, gets 2 or 3 frames in front, he can walk all over you.
Seems a long way away now, doesn't it? 9 frames. Somebody's going to get there first and be crowned Welsh champion. With pots like that, it could well be Ronnie O'Sullivan. But no luck, I'm afraid. The cue ball's just run 2 inches too far.
Always a good pot. It was a natural angle round behind the back of the black, so no spin was required.
He's snookered on all balls here, and he's just having a look how we can get possibly into the back of those pack of reds without leaving anything on. Well, I don't know if it's me, but that seemed to straighten up off the bottom cushion. He looked to have played it at a perfect angle.
rather similar to O'Sullivan's two failed escapes at the outset of the opening frame. Could be significant now that Selby has let O'Sullivan in.
Of course it was. Can't help it.
Well, I don't know quite what that was all about.
They're having a fun and a joke. Adrian Williams must have said something. Ronnie said he's gone.
Eight. Nine. $16.
Certainly displayed his best form so far this Welsh Open against Sean Murphy.
17.
First chance he's had in this match. With the balls open. Now then, is he going to play for the single red? Probably an even nice angle on the blue after that red. And straight into the pink at speed.
24.
We'll be trying to strike the pig smack on the nose.
Of course they play that shot with backspin, so it holds the cue ball down this side of the table amongst the reds. The last thing you want is to go through the pack and leave the cue ball tight on the black cushion. There's a plant on there at the back of the pack. Red into the middle, so a few options. I've noticed quite a lot with Ronnie O'Sullivan. When he opens the pack and they split good, he takes a little while over his next shot just to map things out. You know, he's obviously planning to win the frame from here.
31.
Oh, that doesn't make it any easier. There's a poor shot, that. But he has very high standards. Oh, no then.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 31.
Not easy, that blue, dead weight across the nap. Didn't expect him to miss it, but it's a chance gone, and he's lucky if he hasn't left anything on.
Maybe his mind was still clouded over a bit by having played such a poor positional shot from the red. Whatever the explanation, Selby is relieved. But there was nothing left from O'Sullivan's mistake.
Still early in this final, but Ronnie O'Sullivan won't be too happy with that last visit. One is obviously didn't score enough points and he'd like to clear them up, but The other thing that will be in the back of his mind is that historically he doesn't really like playing these steady type of players like Mark Selby, and if he's not scoring, the games are going to drag on a bit.
Well, it's careless if he's left red to middle.
I honestly don't know what he was thinking of then. He just clipped that red on the side cushion, and even if he'd got the cue ball on the black cushion, he's still leaving Mark Selby with an easy safety, but he's left him 2 pots now. Taking the one in the middle. That seemed just like a, well, I don't know, a nothing shot, I'd call that. It wasn't defensive and it wasn't aggressive. It's cost him. He did have a look at the availability of the red below the pink. I think he's on it. It's a good shot, that was. Not easy to control the speed of the white off 2 cushions, and travelling what, over 12 foot then. The cue ball is perfectly placed.
Seven.
You've got a slight angle. The red at the back of the pack there is also available into the same pocket as the black. Man, he got a little bit too much on the cue ball there.
14.
He'd have been tracking that cue ball about 6 inches nearer to this red. Also, he's got to go through these reds after potting this one.
$15.
Could have been worse. See how easy it is to slip out of position there. There was 4 reds in the middle by the pink there, which he'd be hoping to manoeuvre those and a few blacks, and now he's slipped out of position. He's kissed 2 of them safe. And
Mark Selby 15.
feeling because of that he wasn't in the same frame of mind on the black.
If he'd been 9 inches closer to the black, it would have been a virtual certainty. Yes, left himself a bit straight on that black.
One.
O'Sullivan came to the table 21 in front, but this is not the easiest of clinching chances.
Eight.
Precise position and play. That was an excellent shot from Ronnie Sullivan to keep this effort going. As Clive mentioned, he's still got a lot to do.
9.
The Reds as they are.
Just off straight the wrong side. So O'Sullivan's left himself best possible
14.
on this red, but it's still got to be knocked in.
Yes, and as Irene Williams cleans the cue ball there, I think Ronnie O'Sullivan would prefer to be dead straight on this. He's got a slight angle. It's not bad.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 14.
Well, maybe dead straight would have been a rest shot. Anyway, he's missed it. He had to return to his seat with a lead of only 35 when he was hoping to clinch the frame at that far from straightforward opportunity.
Worth the try. He was on the black if it had gone in. But I think Ronnie O'Sullivan can just about get to that red behind the green, whether he can pot it or not. Well, obviously not. He'd have been down playing it by now, surely. His job is to keep the red safe, and Mark Selby be trying, obviously, to bring him into the open as quickly as possible. He's 35 points behind. Well, Selby's playing the red by the right centre here. And it's noticeable that Ronnie O'Sullivan didn't even look at that shot. He had a double on into the opposite middle pocket. If he'd got that on the black, he'd have been safe in the frame, but he didn't look at it.
Possible crossover double here, combined with the safety. Didn't like that though.
First frame took just over 20 minutes. This frame is just coming up to 16 and a half and will probably go over 20. So this suits Mark Selby's style of play rather than Ronnie O'Sullivan's.
Good safety that from Selby. An aspect of his game which won high praise from Stephen Hendry, who he beat 6-4 in yesterday's semi-finals. Hendry, in fact, described Selby's safety play, his superior safety play, as the difference between them. Hendry scored the more heavily. Selby won most of the tight frames.
One.
No, that case will do him, okay. Good choice now of pink or black. Well, or blue, he's looking at blue in the centre. Whichever colour he chooses here, position is not straightforward. Blue it is then. Trying to take the cue ball through yellow and brown, which he didn't quite get. If you'd have missed the yellow there, he'd been on the bottom of the reds we're looking at, of the three, into that top right hand corner. Now he's looking at safety again.
Mark Selby 6.
A safety which makes the red, which was against the brown, potable, but not at this visit, I would think.
Ronnie Sullivan, of course, quite strong at this type of broken play compared to what he used to be like, but I wouldn't say he's comfortable in it. He'd prefer to be a fast up in game, and see him in his seat. He's playing about, trying to keep his concentration by doing something with his hands there. He's
One.
I'll be writing down, why is this guy potting so many balls? Well, he's just drawing a few things. You could see it close in there.
That was a terrific long red from Selby. It's not inconceivable that he could clear up here
4.
to lead 2-0.
Five.
Well, maybe it's doodles. I can't believe it's a letter.
I think it's just to keep his attention. He does these things. He had a spoon, I remember, once playing about with in his chair. And anything's better than a towel over the head.
8.
Yes, he did in fact play with not play, but sit with a towel over his head here in the Welsh Open a few years ago, and got a bit of stick for it.
Bad contact. See Mark Selby's reaction there. It's just taken a few inches out of the cue ball. Could hear the noise and see his cue going up there in disappointment, because he's got a more difficult shot now. Not sure if he'll play, if he got the angle to chance cannon in the brown into play. Could he still be on the green if he did?
14.
He cannons the brown into a position which makes it possible to right middle.
Seventeen. Twenty-one.
What are they doing?
$26.
A very calm, composed clearance this has been from Mark Selby. It started with a splendid long red from distance. And from the neutral long red, Selby cleared with 39 to lead by 2 frames to 0. That's the long red, which Selby knocked in to start that break.
Yeah.
And a great start by Selby. O'Sullivan is under some early pressure.
Yes, a new, a fresh glass of water comes out for Ronnie.
Glass of hot water, what's that all about?
Interesting, he's got sort of weight of service there, hasn't he? Been brought them in every couple of frames, but just warming his hands, because when you warm your hands, your fingers are quite sort of nimble. And when you're queuing and there's a lot of action goes on in the fingers in the queue action, Ronnie obviously feels that's an aid to him.
A physical aid, Terry, or a psychological aid, do you think?
No, I think if your hands are cold, Dominic's right, you don't get the same feel in the shot, you know. I thought he went out to get a few new sheets of paper, the way Mark Selby is playing. He may be sitting down a while.
However, Selby has mishit his break-off shot and left O'Sullivan this initial red from it.
1.
O'Sullivan yet to work up any momentum this afternoon, and he's a player who thrives on rhythm.
I think that's the difference between the two players. Mark Selby is very happy in the broken
6.
games. The 2 frames so far taken 20 and 24 minutes, and he doesn't mind a safety bout, and as he showed in that last frame, when he got his chance he cleared them up. But
7.
Ronnie likes to be fast and furious out there. He likes to be in the balls. He doesn't mind if his opponent makes big breaks against him. It's strange, really. What he doesn't like is when he loses frames when they take a long time, and there's quite a lot of time in the chair for Ronnie when that's happening.
More patient than he was,
12.
it has to be said. He can play those sort of frames, but he's at his best
13.
when it's all potting and break building.
I got this opening from this Mark Selby break off. Caught the red much too thick. Brought a red back down the table.
$18.
Again, nearly a full ball contact on the pink.
High Walker.
Open the reds and hold the cue ball in the middle of the table.
19.
You had to get that positional shot dead right then to get this angle on the black, and he played it left-handed with no problem. It's not just his good potting balls left-handed, he's got a great touch as well.
$27.
There was the left-handed shot.
34.
The Potter formality, of course, but the precise position wasn't.
35.
Looks a lot happier, obviously, out here, Ronnie O'Sullivan, rather than drawing little things
42.
on a piece of paper. But nothing wrong in doing something in your chair to retain some level of concentration. I used to sing in my chair when I was sitting in the chair. I used to
43.
sing, you know, a lot of songs, let's be honest.
We'll have you at the Eisteddfod yet, Terry. Well, unusual that for an O'Sullivan pack
50.
opener to go as wrong as that.
But it's been the pattern of his play so far in this final. Little things here and there going wrong is enough to stop him in full flow.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 50.
15 safe there. Ronnie O'Sullivan mentioned last night to the press that he's very conscious of trying to entertain the crowd. And when he plays someone like Mark Selby, who perhaps slows the game up a bit, he doesn't like that. It's not all about him, of course. I mean, Mark Selby's out there to do the same job as him. We all love watching Ronnie O'Sullivan play.
Selby did, of course, lead O'Sullivan almost the whole day in their semi-final of the UK Championship at Telford just before Christmas. Selby was 7-5 up, and O'Sullivan won eventually 9-8 through a 1-4-7 maximum in the deciding frame.
Taking this red on, bottom left corner.
And for all O'Sullivan's desire to entertain, when we said after that match how exciting it was, he said, yes, he said, I'd rather have won 9-3 with no unforced errors.
He was outplayed in that match. Mark Selby done everything but win it. All credit to Ronnie O'Sullivan for hanging on in. Similar pattern to here from the previous frame when O'Sullivan got in and got a few in front. Then there was quite a few bouts of safety play for Selby. Knocked in a great red, cleared up. That'll be in Ronnie's mind.
1.
Great pot. Unfortunate result. Must have known that from the potting angle the cue ball was going somewhere near the ball pocket though. And of course, had the cue ball gone in, it would have been a lot worse.
Yes, it wasn't a natural angle to go towards the pocket, but he had to play it with so much pace, and then the cue ball deflection off the red ball as it comes a little bit wider because of the pace he put on. He's very unlucky though to land where he has now. Well, he's decided to go for the brown.
Mark Selby 1.
A brown which would have given him a chance to get back into this frame, but having missed it, has given O'Sullivan a good chance to clinch it. Well, it was somewhat awkward. Cue ball near the jaws of the middle pocket, but I didn't expect him to miss it.
Well, you can see the amount of spin he had to put on that to bring the cue ball over this side of the table. That didn't help the cause. No, as it turned out, the cue ball stopped in about the only place that he can't, Mark Selby can't pot this red. And hasn't got an easy safety on either. So close to the pocket, even if you rolled up to this red, you'd have to be careful he didn't go in off. I think he's playing cushion first here. Very good. No applause from the crowd, but that was a very good shot. Oh. Thank you.
Perhaps they realised how good it was, Terry, through their earpieces.
Yes, I forgot about that. I'm not going to say anything else.
Well, that was a quip from Selby. How about a re-rack, said he, 49 behind.
Which didn't bring a lot of response from Ronnie O'Sullivan, I may add.
Well, if Selby can reach at the potting angle, that wasn't a great shot from O'Sullivan.
There's no pocket there. Ronnie missed one and now Mark's missed one in that pocket.